Oyez, oyez, oyez. Silence is commanded by this honorable commission. All those having business, draw near.
Thank you, and you may be seated. Let me begin by asking all of you now to check your cell phones, including the commissioners. Check your cell phones, make sure we got them on silence or make sure they're completely off, all right, so that it doesn't interrupt these proceedings. This morning we have with us the Reverend Dr. Craig Stephan. He grew up in Edmond, Oklahoma. After earning a soccer scholarship to the Citadel in Charleston, South Carolina, he earned a bachelor's degree in English literature in 1991 and a master's degree in counseling in 1994. Craig and his wife, Misty, were married in 1991 and lived in Charleston for several years prior to attending Trinity School of Ministry outside of Pittsburgh, where Craig earned a master's degree of divinity in 2009. He since has earned a doctorate of ministry and in December 2022 became rear of the Christ Church. At this time, let me introduce our invocationists and our inspirationists to the audience. Dr. Craig, am I saying it right? Is Stephan or Stephen?
It's Craig Stevens.
Stevens, okay.
Right, that's okay.
All right, I just want to make sure, listen, I'm one of those things that I got to think about pronouncing people's name wrong, okay?
Right, that's okay.
The floor is yours.
If I'd known that was going to be read, I would have shortened it. But I appreciate your introduction, Chairman. And I am Father Craig Stevens, the rector of Christ Church Anglican on the corner of Bull Street and 37th Street. And it's an honor and a privilege to be here. And I would like to open us up in prayer and then a reading from John's Gospel.
Father, staying with him.
Yes, thank you. Oh, Father, we invite the presence of your Holy Spirit and ask for your goodness and grace to abound to us this morning, granting us wisdom, revelation, and knowledge of your will and the faithful courage to follow through with it, God. Open our hearts and minds to your word and your presence, we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah, please be
now
seated.
You may be seated.
This is a reading from John's Gospel, the very beginning, chapter 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. It's a beautiful day in Savannah, sunny, the kind that we love. We have to acknowledge, too, and it would be naive not to, that there is also a vast presence of darkness in our community. There's things we read about in the news every day that are manifestations and indications of darkness and evil. And if we look closely in our hearts, there's probably some darkness there, too. A week ago from today, we remembered the way of the cross and Christ's crucifixion, a time when Jesus himself said was the hour of darkness, a time when darkness reigns. And I want to encourage you today that though we acknowledge the darkness that exists in our world and in our community, the light has come into the world. And we celebrated this on Easter Sunday. The light of Christ coming into the world and overcoming that darkness. And I want to encourage you today that though as a pastor I encounter this darkness and we deal with it, I want to encourage you that there is light in our community. There is light that is shining and overcoming that darkness. I want to share just a few examples that are happening now in my arena. And one may seem insignificant, but it's really meaningful to me. And it was a week ago on Good Friday in the afternoon after one of our services, a man came to our church door. He was a homeless man, and he came in, and I've encountered that quite a bit where I am, and sometimes as much as I try to work against it, a part of me is cynical as I've heard the stories that eventually lead to an ask for money and help. And I was ready for that, and after coming off a service, I was a little bit impatient. But I have to tell you, God convicted me and blessed me because this man came and he asked two things. He asked if he could confess his sins and if he could pray with someone. And that's what we did. And to me as a pastor, that is an indication of God working in our community. When a person of his own volition comes in and asks to share his sins and how he feels he's disappointed God and his family, who he's living with in a tent, and to ask for prayer that he would turn and make a turn in his life as he has a new job. Yesterday at our church, in partnership with other organizations and ministries, one, the Dive Savannah, we fed and provided services to over 197 homeless people and needy people, along with Gateway Community Health. Many received services. They all received breakfast and lunch and hospitality. And this is happening every week, every Thursday. It's an indication that light is shining in the darkness and overcoming. 2 weeks from today, a ministry called Young Life Savannah, which ministers to high school students, will host Joy Prom, a prom that will occur and be hosted at Compassion Christian Church. It will be a prom for high school students with special needs. Volunteers will come around to facilitate that prom. It's an indication, a manifestation of God's light that overcomes the darkness. And happening now in Savannah, a ministry called Promise 686 is gathering churches together toward a mission of helping families who are in foster care, who are adoptive families, or who are in crisis. We're partnering with Promise 686 and with the Department of Family and Children's Services to provide help and resources for these families. It's another work of God that is shining light in the darkness. And I could go on for quite some time just sharing what I've encountered in this community, ways that God is shining a light in the darkness. And I know, as you do, me as a pastor, you as leaders in our community, that you can come up with the best programs and have the best intentions and try your hardest, but there are areas of darkness that we can't reach, and there are powers of darkness that we can't overcome without God's reach and his power. And so I want to encourage you today that as you thankfully do your best, as you devote yourself to leading this community, avail yourself through prayer, through humility of God's light and his power, which has come into the world to overcome the darkness that you and I are aware of and sometimes can be overwhelmed by. I want to finish with another quote from John. Jesus shares in John 3:21. He says this, "Whoever does what is true comes into the light, so that it may be clearly seen that his or her works have been carried out in God." So as we close, I want to pray for you and for us that we would come into the God's light, that his light would shine in our hearts and in our community, that we would live according to the truth and in justice, and that we would see his works bringing about his good purposes among us. So let me close in prayer for us. And yeah, if you would stand, that would be great. Thanks. Oh, Father, we thank you that your light has shined into this world and that your light overcomes the darkness. Lord, whenever we see or encounter darkness in ourselves or in this community, let us not be overwhelmed. Let us not cower or shrink back or even deny it. But God, may we, by your grace, come to you in prayer, in humility, asking you for light and power to overcome the darkness. And I pray that you would shine your light upon this group here today, upon these leaders of our community, leading them in the truth. Lord, let us see your goodness and grace, and bless Savannah, bless these county commissioners. I ask in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
God bless y'all.
Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let me say to Reverend Dr. Stevens, we are so grateful to you taking time out of your schedule to come and be with us today, and for giving us your words of inspiration and for giving us your blessings. And thank you for praying for us as we go about doing the duty here in Chatham County.
Amen. You're
Again,
welcome.
we say thank you.
You're welcome.
We have roll call.
Chester A. Ellis, Chairman.
Present.
Helen L. Stone, District 1, Vice Chairman.
Present.
Kenneth A. Adams, District 8, Chairman Pro Tem.
Present.
Larry Gator Rivers, District 2. Bobby Lockett, District 3.
Present.
Patrick K. Farrell, District 4.
Here.
Tanya Milton, District 5.
Present.
Aaron Whiteley, District 6. Here. Dean Kicklider, District 7.
Here.
Let me at this time ask for a motion to excuse Commissioner Rivers.
I so move.
Second.
Been properly motion and second that Commissioner Rivers be excused. Are you ready for the question? Please signify by voting. All right, thank you. At this time, Mr. Manager, I'll call upon you.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I'm going to ask our Human Resources Director, Ms. Callan Smalls, to come forward. And this is the time and that during our meeting where we recognize our valued employees, the ones who have reached milestones, to recognize them for service to Chatham County. So I'm going to ask Ms. Smalls to come forward.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Manager. Good morning, Chairman Ellis. Good morning, Commissioners. I'm pleased this morning to present 12 of our team members who have reached a service milestone with Chatham County and are here with us this morning to receive their service awards and to be recognized with their team members and their managers present to help them celebrate. So I would ask if the county manager would please come forward. He will present your service awards to you, and I see that we have several constitutional officers and department heads in attendance who are here to celebrate with you. So we invite them to come forward as you receive your award as well. So as I call your name, I invite you to stand and come forward and greet the county manager to receive your award. And there's also a photo op with that, so we will have pictures taken as you receive your award this morning. And so, again, for the second month, we're going to start with a 40-year service award.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
So I am pleased to present Mr. David Lamb with the Detention Center with 40 years of service.
You already signed that?
Anytime, bud.
Thank you.
You'll catch me if you stay there.
You can go back to your seat. And with 20 years of service, let's recognize Sergeant Christina Windsor with the Police Department. And also with 20 years of service, Ms. Denise Holland with the Detention Center.
We letting her in the photo op because I stole her from Tammy.
One more. One more. Okay.
And with 15 years of service, Mr. Andrew Cree with Information and Communication Services.
Appreciate it.
And with 15 years of service, Ms. Danita Ward with the Tax Commissioner's Office. And also with 15 years of service, Ms. Esther Wells with the Indigent Defense Unit. And celebrating 15 years with Team Chatham, Ms. Tanya Williams with the Finance Department. Celebrating 15 years with Team Chatham, Ms. Judith Miller McCook with Chatham 911 Communication Services. Celebrating 10 years with Chatham County, Ms. Patricia Armour with Court Administration. Celebrating 5 years of service, Ms. Terriana Grubbs with Chatham 911 Communication Services. With 5 years of service, let's recognize Ms. Delisha Green with the Police Department. And also celebrating 5 years, Ms. Jesslyn Palmer with Probate Court. Thank you, and let's congratulate our Service Award recipients and celebrate them for their years with Team Chatham and look forward to many more years of service from you. Thank you.
And let me say to you on behalf of the commission, job well done, and you make our job easier by the job you do. Thank you so much, all right? At this time, let me recognize also in our presence, our constitutional officer, Sheriff John Wiltshire, our clerk, Tammy Mosley, our tax commissioner, all right? Did I see any other? All right, good. Said Miss former DA Lawton is in there? Oh, okay, all right. Thank you, sir. At this time, let me ask, as we move forward, may I have the members of Memorial Day School, the head coach, and as we transition some out, let me have the head coach and the players who are here from Memorial Day School. If you all will come to the podium up here and turn around and face the commissioners. Yeah. All right. Yeah, if you just put them right there, we let the coach distribute them. It'll stay, just spread them out. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
The County of Chatham, Georgia, proclamation. Whereas Memorial Day School has continued to prepare each of their students for the diverse challenges and opportunity of higher education since 1971, developing responsible citizenship in a democratic society and rapidly changing world. And whereas the city of Savannah and Chatham County are indeed fortunate to have Memorial Day School providing quality education in a family environment with caring, loving, nurturing faculty and staff, and in that spirit, we salute with pride Memorial Day School. Whereas for the 11th time, this commission is recognizing Memorial Day School for achieving the highest goal of winning the 2022-2022 Georgia Independent Athletic Association Single A State Basketball Championship. And whereas we congratulate Memorial Day School for having one of the most successful athletic programs in the state of Georgia, having won 6 state football championships, 4 state basketball championships, and 1 state baseball championship. Now therefore, I, Chester A. Ellis, Chairman on behalf of the Chatham County Board of Commissioners, do hereby congratulate Memorial Day School. In witness whereof, I have hereto set my hands and caused the seal of Chatham County, Georgia, to be affixed this 14th day of April, 2023. Congratulations, and Coach, the mic is yours.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you to all of the commissioners. We at Memorial are a very small school, and we greatly appreciate the recognition that you guys have extended to us today. These young men represented you well in the basketball season, and in particular in the basketball tournament. So from our coaching staff, Coach Allen and myself, from our athletic administration, Coach Helmley, Mrs. Bola, our administrator, the head of school, is also here as well. As far as the representatives from the school, and we have several family members that are here as well, and we would just like to say thank you to all of you for allowing us to be recognized in this way.
All right, let me have you do this. Either you recognize or you let them say their names as we go along.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We'll start right here with our youngest player.
State the year you're in right now, too. Freshman, sophomore.
Yeah.
My name is Javon Robinson, and I'm a freshman.
All right.
I'm Alexander Herwick, and I'm a senior.
Simeon Robinson, and I'm a senior.
Matas Edietis, and I'm a junior.
Jake Vendetti, and I'm a senior. Christian Vaughn, and I'm a sophomore. Edwin Carter, and I'm a senior.
Joel Boros, senior.
Come on, Coach. Come on, Coach. Where the coaches go?
Go ahead.
Coach Allen, coach.
Tyler Humley, athletic director, class of 2007.
Okay. Didn't I say you said the headmaster was here?
She's here.
Where's, we want all of you to be recognized.
Angela Bola, head of school.
Thank you. Now, parents are here. If you're a parent, stand up. There you go. Let's give all of them a round of applause. Congratulations. Commissioner Milton wants you all to come back to the center, all right, so she can get a picture. If you will, just move back. And while you're doing that, let me just say to the freshmen and sophomores and juniors, the seniors have put a trunk on your back now because they won the championship, so y'all have to repeat. You have to get, there you go. All right? One, don't move, she said. Okay. Again, we say thank you and congratulations, and we're so glad that you make us proud. call on Commissioner Adams. I gave you that, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, Commissioner Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a proclamation from the County of Chatham, Georgia, and it reads, whereas the term victim is more than just a label and has legal standing and protection that go along with it. And whereas the Crime Victims' Rights Act is part of the United States Justice for All Act of 2004. That guarantees victims the right to meaningfully participate and use their voice in the criminal justice process. And whereas the victim service providers, advocates, law enforcement officers, attorneys, and other allied professionals can help survivors find their justice by enforcing their rights. And whereas engaging survivors creates responses and services that are credible, meaningful, and centered on individual needs. And whereas equity and inclusion are fundamental prerequisites to survivor care and survivor-led services that provide victims with opportunities to share their experiences are essential blueprints for support. Now, therefore, I, Chester A. Ellis, Chairman, on behalf of the Chatham County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim April 23rd through 29th, 2023 as Crime Victims' Rights Week in Chatham County and express our sincere gratitude and appreciation for those community members, victim service providers, and criminal justice professionals who are committed to improving our response to all victims of crime so that they may find relevant assistance and support, justice, and peace. And witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of Chatham County, Georgia, to be affixed the 14th day of April, 2023.
Ms. Jones, the mic is yours.
Yes, thank you. Chairman Ellis and Commissioners, I just want to thank you all for recognizing April 23rd through April 29th as Crime Victims' Rights Week. This is a special time to pay tribute to those individuals who've lost their lives to victimization, survivors, loved ones, and family members, and those community members and agencies who have provided support services to victims of crime. The theme for 2023 Crime Victims' Rights Week is Survivor Voices, Elevate, Engage, Effect Change. This year's theme calls upon communities to amplify the voices of survivors and create environments where survivors have the confidence that they will be heard, believed, and supported. Therefore, by presenting this proclamation, we are committed to servicing our victims in a manner that allows them to have a voice to advocate for themselves and for others. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you for the job that you do.
Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.
May I now have the acting president for the internal audit?
Good morning.
Good morning.
As the president, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
let me read it first, all right?
Okay.
The County of Chatham, Georgia proclamation. Whereas internal audit is a vital part of the strengthening organizations and protecting stakeholders of both the public and the private sector. And whereas internal auditing helps identify and manage the organization's risks and ensure policies, procedures, and control are in place and working appropriately. And whereas internal auditing is an increasingly sophisticated and complex activity requiring specialized knowledge, training, and education. Now, therefore, I, Chester A. Ellis, Chairman, on behalf of the Chatham County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2023 as Internal Audit Awareness Month in Chatham County and extend greetings and best wishes to all observing the International Internal Audit Awareness Month and invite all citizens to join us in recognizing professional internal auditors for their contribution. In witness whereof, I have hereto set my hands and caused the seal of Chatham County, Georgia, to be affixed this 14th day of April, 2023. The floor is yours.
As the president of the Coastal Georgia chapter of the Institute of Internal Auditors, I would like to thank the commissioners for recognizing the profession of internal audit by proclaiming May the Internal Audit Awareness Month. The Institute of Internal Auditors is a global organization with over 230,000 members worldwide. The Coastal Georgia chapter is one of the smallest, and we have 30 members, but we are a very active and an engaged group. The objective, internal audit's mission is to enhance an organization's success in serving the public interest by providing leadership with objective assurance and advice about governance, risk management, and control processes. The commission would be proud to know that Chatham County has a strong presentation in the industry with 5 employees serving in officer positions in the chapter and 4 of those employees holding the Certified Internal Auditor designation. The CIAA is a premier industry recognition of individuals who meet the educational requirements of a 4-year degree, have passed a comprehensive 3-part series of exams, and have more than 2 years of experience in the industry. On behalf of the Coastal Georgia chapter, I am honored to receive this proclamation.
Thank you, and thank you for the job you're doing, especially our internal audit team.
Yeah, they're actually here with us today.
That's what I'm saying, there you go.
So, and all of us in this room are officers in one way or fashion. So, thank you so much.
My way of recognizing them, I call them checks and balances. Because they will check you to keep you in balance. Thank you so much for all the job that you do and the way you do it. Thank you. We appreciate you all. Now, may I have the director for the for Region 5 for the safe dig? Is it here? Are they here? All right, come on. You trying to coax Suzanne into coming up here with you? I'll call her out. The County of Chatham, Georgia, proclamation. Whereas traditionally April brings a groundswell of outdoor work which often includes digging. Whereas it is a small project or a large project, home improvement project, National Digging Month is a way to remind us of all to call 811 before starting any digging project. Whereas digging without knowledge, without the appropriate knowledge, location of underground utilities can result in serious injuries, inconvenient service disruption, and costly repairs when gas, electric, and communications and water and sewer lines are damaged. And whereas making a free request to Georgia 811 or by dialing 811 prior to digging will help homeowners maintain essential utility service for themselves and neighbors and keep communities safe by reducing the likelihood of accidental digging into buried utility lines. Now, therefore, I, Chester Ellis, on behalf of the Chatham County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim April 2023 as Safe Digging Month in Chatham County and strongly encourage individuals and professionals to contact 811 before beginning digging. In witness whereof, I have hereto set my hands and caused the seal of Chatham County, Georgia, to be affixed this 14th day of April 2023. The mic is yours.
On behalf of Georgia 811, we do thank Chatham County for recognizing safe digging with this proclamation.
Thank you. And thank you for the job you all do, Mike.
Yeah, and I'm here because I chair the local Savannah Chatham local utility coordinating committee.
Amen. Thank you for the job you do. All right. We don't have any chairman's items or commissioner items. We have one table item. Board consider request by applicant Robert Jonas for a variance from section 24-1222 and 7 of the flood damage prevention ordinance for the construction of his residence at 135 Runner Road, pin 10025E01010, District 4. This item was tabled at the March 10th meeting. This item was tabled again at the March 24th meeting.
Chairman,
Are they here?
Chairman, may I?
Yes, sir.
Take over.
You got it,
Motion to take it off the table?
yeah,
Second.
there you go. All right, it's been properly motioned and second that we take this item off the table. Are you ready for the question? Please signify by, we vote. All right, now, we have to make sure, are they here? Because we have to carry them through public hearing.
Yeah, I'm ready, I think we're all ready to resolve the problem. I just want to ask, because we're all very well aware of the issue at hand, is there a solution? Does anyone here have we come to some type of solution to present to the county today? And if anybody on staff or the gentleman can answer it, please, because I would like to hear a solution.
No, sir, I don't think there's been a solution. The way we left it at our last meeting was, I think the board requested that the builder come forward, and the board was gonna ask the builder some questions.
Okay.
All right,
And I think we're still in the same place. This is Mr. Long. I'm the project manager.
Okay, well, y'all both,
right.
if, with the chairman's permission, can they both come up to the mic, then the
all right,
builder?
but
and the-
we've got to open up the public hearing.
Okay.
Motion to do so.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we open the public hearing.
Properly motion and second that we go into a public hearing. Are you ready for the question? Please vote. All right. Okay, now they can come and do.
Good morning, Commissioners. How are y'all?
Good.
I hope, I pray, this is the last time that I have to be up here. Y'all met my wife, was at a wedding, and she's a firecracker, but I felt like she did pretty good. This is Mr. Alex Long. Y'all requested that he come up here and answer some questions. In regards to Mr. Kicklighter's question, we're still in the same boat. It's either a variance, which is complicated. That's the fastest route. It's murky, but I do know I can get flood insurance. That being said, if we were to, the money to rebuild, that would be totally fine. It'll back us up even a few more months, but we'll have this resolved. At this time, any
Can
questions?
you tell me real quick, what's the amount of money that you would need to start over?
We're gated, I mean, that, yeah.
I mean, it's somewhere in the $30,000 to $40,000 range at this point.
Okay, can you give me an exact, I'm trying to solve this today.
I don't have one today. I haven't solicited bids because the route I think Mr. Jonas was trying to go was the variance route. If we're tabling this to another date, I could come with an exact
All
figure
right,
for tearing down
what we're
the
trying to
structure.
do is we're just simply trying to do something that's fair for him,
No, I
period,
understand.
but also fair for
For
the
the
job
county.
that we represent, which is, we've been told that it could jeopardize future things if we, so.
And I completely understand that.
So-
And I could provide those figures, but I was, excuse me.
All right, I would like to, by the next meeting, before I release the floor, and then I think we need to just table, but everybody else can talk, but I would like to have the exact number and your commitment that if we pay that exact number, you would sign a no whatever future, the attorney can say what I'm trying to say, that you hold harmless agreement with the county that they are paying you this to start over again. And then I think in that way, it'll be fair, you'll be safeguarded as far as what our staff believes with the future, and although it stinks bad to have to start over, at least everybody will muddle through it, so.
And if that's the route that the county wants to go, and like I said, that's totally fine, that seems fair. But I do want to start today tearing this thing down, submitting to Mrs. Cooler's office And that way it's not, because at the end of the day, if the variance is not gonna be granted, that's the boat we're in regardless. So, you know, that's probably the route that I would go unless y'all see otherwise why I shouldn't do that. I mean,
Without a signed agreement from the county, from us, I wouldn't want to put you in that jeopardy either, because if I were a dictator, I could say, go ahead and shake your hand, but all these guys could disagree with me.
And I get that, but I just think at that point, if I'm thinking correctly.
Can you give us a figure right this second that you'll take and sign that, and then maybe maybe we can approve it if you'll sign the hold harmless agreement?
I mean, I know it's not more than 40. I mean, I said 30 to 40 just because I don't have all the figures in front of me.
Okay, when you first told us that, I believe you said around 28,000.
So, yeah, so 20 to 30, and that was just, you know, obviously talking with Mr. Long a little bit further.
$30,000, $35,000 do the trick?
I think so, yes, sir.
All right, I'm going to make a motion.
Can't make a motion open.
Yeah, we're still in the public hearing. God, why'd we have to change that after 20-something years? Let's close this hearing, guys, and get this over with.
No, but you got other commissioners who asked to speak.
Please.
All right, you still want to speak, Commissioner Miller?
Yeah. I just don't want you to, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just don't want to get you to tearing down anything until we all agree that that's going to be what's going to happen.
I get it. And it's, you know, like I said, oh my goodness, I'm so tired. I'm definitely tired.
Because you were looking for another option out.
I am, and you know, like I said, if there was a variance, I've talked. I mean, aside from the President of the United States, I felt like I talked to him, and you know, from what I'm gathering, I can get insurance, and that's what I got, and I feel that way. But do I want to jeopardize the county if y'all feel a different way? I don't. So if this is the easiest, we could both wipe our hands of this and go on about our business as far as the money, then I'm all for it.
All right. You through?
Given,
Commissioner Farrell?
may I?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just given the murkiness of, you know, whether or not it's capable or whatnot, and I know Mr. Jonas feels like he's done his due diligence in performing that, and I know the county feels that there may be an opposition to that may not be the case. I know it may not be what he wants to hear, but if there's an agreement that could be made between the city or the county and Mr. Jonas for tearing down the structure and the cost to rebuild that under the, you know, correcting that under that section for the flood prevention, just for the future, I do think that is for everyone, the better route. However, that even though it would cause the delays, and where that, you know, that falls, I do think that would be the best for all parties involved in the future, for if he ever does decide to resell that property, and if someone else doesn't have that capacity or whatnot, I would not want them to run into anything, and then his ability to, you know, to sell the property or move on in the future ever be affected by that. So, I mean, that would be my personal recommendation, if that's something that the county is open to. We're prepared to move forward if a variance is granted. But we're prepared to demolish the structure and move forward under I already have a set of plans ready that meet the guideline for that already prepared. So we're capable of, you know, submitting those to the building department and moving forward.
All right, Commissioner Farrell?
Thank you. You know, it's been a month since we talked about this, so let me just recap and you let me know if I got this right. You applied for a building permit to build your home on the island. You received the building permit.
Yes, sir.
And you proceeded to build according to those approved blueprints that were signed by the county representative in charge?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And at what point were you informed by, and by who, that this
I was informed on 12/6/2022 by Ms. Jarris. She contacted the architect of record, Mr. Terry Dismute, and then forwarded the letter that notified us that we should not have been granted a permit, that it should not have been approved, and that the stamp plan should never have been received to us.
And at that point, where were you in the construction with the materials and labor?
We had passed several permits. We are completely through our foundation, our stem walls. We had the framing package to be delivered I believe it was like 12/8, so I called and canceled that package to be delivered. So we had the windows, everything ready to be delivered to move forward with our vertical construction. But it was on 12/6 that we were notified, hey, this is something we need to address.
Okay. So you're proceeding according to all the rules that you were aware of?
Yes, we have
And
we have the plans with us that were approved, signed, were in the box.
Okay.
We passed the first 3 inspections that all deal with the foundation and the stem walls that are what's in question regarding that. Those inspections were, our footings inspections on 10/11. We again had a bond beam inspection for those walls on 11/7, and again, our final foundation inspection on 11/30. It wasn't until 12/6, after we had passed all those inspections and poured all of that we were notified, hey, this is not right.
All right, so you're proceeding according to the rules and regs, and you're stopped. There's some question about flood insurance and a variance. What is your ask today for the commission?
My ask is for a solution, whatever that may be. It seems to me, for everybody involved, that to bring the property back in compliance would be the easiest solution. As far as agreements go, between me and the county.
I think what he's saying is he's okay with a variance or a monetary to rebuild. My recommendation as a project manager would be a resolution to tear it down and move forward with a new set of plans, which I have. The architect's already prepared. I know that would add us, that would give us a few months of delays, but I think that would be the best resolution for all parties involved, because it would keep y'all in compliance with FEMA moving forward. It would allow him, if he ever sells the home, moving forward. That would be my recommendation, but that's not, I'm not the one who has to accept that recommendation. That's Mr. Jonas. I think he's okay with either one, as long as there's a
I'll let him
resident.
speak for himself. He
Okay.
looks like he's got good command of the English language, so go ahead and give us your
I have to agree
your
with
ask.
with Mr. Long, 35,000 to tear down the structure and to rebuild and get it in compliance there.
Okay, so you don't want a variance, you want money
Yes, sir.
to write the plan to fit the county and Fed regulations and ordinances?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, thank you. Just wanted some clarity.
Commissioner Stone?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before I could vote, I would really need to see a breakdown on the cost, because this is taxpayers' money
I understand.
that is at stake here. So I, for one, cannot just say ballpark figure and grant that. I would need to see what needs to be done and what the cost of each of those things that needs to be done.
All right, do I have everybody who wants to speak now? Who's that?
Now, this is just to the public
Yeah,
part. and
yeah,
then-
just
then
public.
we can
We're still in the
question
public
staff
part now.
afterwards, is that correct, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, we still in the public part. Yes, ma'am.
One last thing for me is, did we clear up the engineering error, which was an email which is why we asked you to come, because we couldn't figure out the email and what happened to the email.
So there's several emails that were sent out, and I don't know what's going on with, honestly, it's not just this project. I have a couple of projects in Chatham County that have some emails that are being sent. Even my inspection emails, my inspection reports are going to someone else. So I'm not sure where that, what's happening there.
Yeah, we
But,
haven't established, I don't think we have established.
There was an email that was copied to me, that went into my junk email, on 8/25.
Which indicated that you were,
Which indicated some, requests that said that some plans needed to be modified.
so that was 8/25, which was before you started the building.
It was, so we called on 9/22 asking for an update on the plans to the county, and we're told that our plans have been approved and we're ready, and we brought a check in. They were
Did you
stamped.
get the update?
We didn't update anything other than deleting the bathroom on the lower floor. That is what we that is what we deleted. And then, you know, as far as any other updates, we did not update anything different to the plan. We just deleted the bathroom that was told, you're not allowed to have a bathroom on the first floor in the flood zone. So we deleted that.
That was what the email indicated?
That was not the only thing that was, the email just said that there were modifications that needed to be made.
So were
There-
all the requests made, all the modifications made before you, when you started?
We did not
doing-
modify anything additional other than the bathroom to the plans. We resubmitted those. Those were the plans that were stamped and approved that we have that were what we moved forward off of and that were stamped and approved.
See, that was where we were at the last meeting. We couldn't find out what happened to the email, when the email was sent, when you received it, and that Chatham County Engineering was not correct. But we are finding out now that they were able to
There was
reach out.
there was an email that went out to someone in my office who's not on the application. There's also an email that was mailed, that was addressed to that same person to another party's, who I work with, but it went to his home address. And then there is a email that's going out to someone with the same last name who doesn't work for my company.
So
So
how do
there's,
they say
there-
there's a problem with communication?
So, I mean, like, for instance, the inspection emails are going to Orion Edenfield. My office manager's name is Garrison Edenfield. My dad, who is the contract of record that, you know, that we're doing this project is Gerald Edenfield. But, so there's some problems, I guess, with the last name, that there's some things going to, some going to Ryan Edenfield, some things going to other things. So it's, I'm not sure where that happened.
Failure to communicate.
But, you know, like I said, I'm not denying that there was an email sent. And one of our emails that's on the application was copied on that email. It went to a spam folder. But we called to ask, you know, on 9/22, we said, hey, what is the status of this permit? You know, we haven't had any communication, not saying that it wasn't sent, but that, hey, we haven't seen any formal communication. What is the status of this? At that point, we were told, hey, this permit is ready. These plans are approved. We showed up, we provided the permit check, we were given the stamped set of plans, and that is what we proceeded to move forward off of. We had no idea of knowing, hey, this email was sent that said that it should not be denied, or that it should have been denied and never moved forward from engineering and plan review to the permitting process. So at that point, we had no idea of knowing. We were not made aware of that email until 12/6.
Thank
So
you.
we just were not aware of it. I'm not saying that it wasn't sent, but it was sent to a couple of emails, and one of which is on the application. So there is, you know, I'm not denying that.
So they provided them with that email.
And we made some corrections.
Right.
But apparently not all the corrections that were
What
requested.
I'm talking about, the email that told you it was not in and you needed to stop before you started. It went to the email that was provided to the engineering department, right? Am I correct?
There was one email, yes.
Oh, okay, all right. All right, do we have everybody who said, do we need to hear from staff now? Is that what, y'all let me know.
Whatever, I can make a motion after we close.
Close this hearing, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can make a motion. After we close this hearing, do we need it from staff?
I'd like to hear
All
their
right.
take on it. Yeah, I mean, you know.
We got questions for staff. Let staff come on.
Do we close the public hearing?
No, staff they can speak during the public hearing.
Okay.
Because we're still staying on the same topic. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have questions?
Question? Yes, sir.
Yep, so, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Mr. Manager, what efforts have been made, you know, understanding that we've uncovered this communication issue, internal communication issue between engineering and, I don't know, whatever, different sub-departments associated with this type of matter. What efforts have been made to rectify this for future endeavors?
We've changed the process on the permitting issues, and we're going to tighten up the communications between engineering and building safety. So I think we've kind of closed this loop. You know, staff's of the opinion that he was notified that it wasn't, modifications need to be made. And we've also went back and looked at the ordinance, and we've tightened that up also. So it may add a few more days to the permitting process and issuing a building permit, but we've tightened it up. So I'm relatively certain we won't have this issue again.
Now, will that include, does that, some of the
Well,
efforts include official notification, like more than one? Like email is one form, but I believe there should be two or three, you know, a certified letter or something, because we've all been bitten by the spam bug.
Well, and one of the things that I've asked staff to look at is a permit will, engineering approval will not be given until everything is addressed. So they won't be able to pick up a permit until everything is addressed in terms of the site work and in terms of the flood mitigation stuff. So we won't issue a permit until all that's cleared up.
Okay, thank you.
Now, we also will have some, in that process, we've got some modifications to the ordinance because there is some ambiguity in the FEMA ordinance and the building code. So we'll be coming back to you within the next couple meetings to make some revisions to our ordinance to tighten it up a lot more.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Manager.
All right, Commissioner Farrell.
Thank you. Staff, what's the date that the builder's property owner was issued a building permit to proceed? What was that date on the permit? Do we know this on or about?
9/22 is the check that I wrote on 9/22 to pick up the permit.
Give me just a moment, I should have it in my file. Wait. No, that's incorrect. Oh, wait. Let's see. Yeah, it was issued in September 22.
September 22 of 22.
Well, September something of 22. I only have the year and the month.
Okay. So the permit was issued. In good faith, the owner and the builder proceeded. At what date were they informed to stop or asked to stop or just informed? I mean, what was the next triggering date like before the framing package arrived?
The next trigger was December when they were notified that it was in violation.
Okay, so can you explain to me how the county issues a permit on 9/22 and at some date in December says that it's in violation and they're doing something wrong? I'm not sure I understand how that happened. I mean, you know, because I'm putting myself in the shoes of the builder and the property owner and as a district representative. So I just kind of need some clarification on, you know, how that happens.
I understand. Let me explain the previous process to answer that. So the previous process was that any property or any building permit in the special flood hazard area would first come to engineering for review to see if any mitigation's required on the site and to look at the site improvements. But engineering, not being the building experts, weren't reviewing the building component of the special flood hazard area. That was going to building safety. And so we would note on there, hey, check this. The site's approved, but check these things because they don't appear to meet the building requirements. They'd take that to building safety, get a permit. Building safety issues the permit and begins the inspection of the building. In this case, we got phone calls from neighbors of the property saying, wait a minute, why are they building these solid walls in this neighborhood when I wasn't allowed to do that? And we said, well, good question. And we went out and inspected and found that that was in violation. And that's when it was brought up that, hey, it's in violation, and they were called and notified.
Okay. So if county staff open the gate and let the construction and the resources flow and then shut the gate, who is responsible for getting them back into compliance?
Do you mean actually making the improvements to comply? That would be the owner or applicant. That's really a legal question, but it's my understanding that our permits all specify that this, we don't take responsibility when code requirements aren't met. But the county attorney can answer more to that.
Well, by all means, county attorney.
Mr. Attorney?
You got a set of standard plan that's basically saying the building aspects of your plans are approved. What I don't understand, and maybe I'm just confused, but the gentleman's bathroom was in the basement. And he knew about that. And on the same set of plans, all the comments about the other things he needed to fix were on those too. So I just don't understand it, but that's me.
All right, can we stop there with the staff question, and maybe you can address that?
So the bathroom was notified to us on, back in March of 2022. That was not part of the.
Say that date again.
March of 2022. That was when we initially
Oh,
applied
that
for
was-
this permit
right.
in February
So
of
that was
2022.
6 months before you got the permit.
Yes, so we applied for the permit on February 22nd, 2022 was our initial application to receive the permit. So this was a long, drawn-out process. This was not something that happened in 2 weeks. Because this property is on the marsh, at that point, we were notified we had some DNR work and stuff like that that had to take place, and there was something that was notified to us that said you cannot have a bathroom in a flood zone on the first floor. That email, we had a Miss Christine Vickers on, I had an email on 3/8 that was sent to Mr. Kiefer, our plan designer, and at that point, asking for an approval flood letter form that we filled out, and then we were denied in March for the bathroom on the first floor in the flood, and at that point, we amended the plans to remove the bathroom and resubmitted our request.
Thank you. So, you know, as a third party, so to speak, to this issue, you know, and having building experience myself, generally speaking, when a builder and an owner are issued a building permit, they assume that all things are green lighted and ready to go, and then to stop it and then say you need to fix all this stuff, even though you have a permit, I have a hard time putting all that together and throwing it back on the property owner and the builder. So I just want to hear from staff, you know.
All right, the attorney's got something that he wants.
Sure.
I'm a little bit more confused.
Okay.
I have a copy of the letter of March 10th, 2022.
March 10th, okay.
2022, referred to. And it also has in the letter things that you need to comply with. Section 24-122 requires utilization of breakaway walls in combination with hydrostatic vents in the event you decide, if you desire a review from the floodplain ordinance, the copy can be downloaded at the following website.
Is that the same letter that informed about the bathroom?
Yes.
And that's in that letter? All right, I'm seeing a shaking head. Could you?
Our emails that we were notified of the bathroom were prior to that letter.
Did you?
The letter from Mr. Blakely was the letter that we're saying that was sent to our spam folder. I mean, that's what we're discussing. That one letter that's claiming that we were supposed to have breakaway walls is the letter that we're saying we did not get. At that point, we were so far into this, we would have just changed the plans. I mean, we have You know, to do the breakaway walls versus doing the hydrostatic flood vents that we have on our plans that are stamped, it's not much cost difference to the homeowner.
6 months prior to you being issued the permit.
Correct.
So why did staff not require the
So-
breakaway walls on the?
Well, that's what I'm trying to get my head wrapped around is,
If
you know,
we
when
would
you
have
get-
seen that, we
when
would
you go
have,
back and
we
forth
would
with a
have changed
regulatory
it.
agency as a builder or property owner, and, you know, no matter your experience, it seems like it's, you know, when you get the permit, you figured you've checked all the boxes.
Well, I
mean,
promise
at
you, this
least I
isn't my
do.
first rodeo.
Yeah, you've
I mean,
checked all the
I've built-
boxes, and you're ready to proceed, and then to be stopped and said, no, you gotta bring this into compliance. I'm having trouble.
And
figuring
that's
that.
where we're at with it. I mean, at the point that we called and asked what the status of our permit was in September of 2022, we were told, your permit is ready, you have an approved set of plans, come pick them up. At that point, we went to the building department, we issued a check, we were given a permit, we were given a set of plans stamped back that do not show breakaway walls, they are stamped, they show our hydrostatic flood vents, which I might add is 96% of the homes in this neighborhood are the same. So at that point, we had no reason to believe that we were not moving forward in good faith. I mean, the home to the left and the right have the same hydrostatic flood vents that we issued or provided on our plans. I've worked in other flood zones throughout the low country, and that is, I understand this is a special flood hazard. However, for typical flood hazards, hydrostatic flood vents are considered acceptable. So we were moving forward in good faith that was, you know, part of the process. And when we received our permit, we assumed, as most anyone would, that everything was kosher. And like you mentioned, I mean, after 3 inspections, which involve the area affected by those hydrostatic flood vents, where we were approved by the building department on multiple occasions, are now being said, hey, this is, after we've already moved past that, we were inspected, it was approved by building and safety, then we're notified, hey, you need to tear this down, or you need to stop. That's where our complaint is. It's not that, hey, there might not have been a letter sent out or whatnot. We should have not been issued a set of plans if it was not acceptable on the county's
Well, exactly. Communications get mixed up from time to time, and I understand that. But when you got a permit and you're in the building business, that's the green light to go. And then you got the red light in, December, after you'd already invested a certain amount of money and effort into the project. So that's problematic to me. Does staff have a recommended solution? I think that's what we're after today. I've heard from the property owner and the builder.
Do you have a recommendation?
And I don't know which staff member needs to answer it, but I'm just putting it out there.
My recommendation would be not to approve a variance, because we have heard from the people that grade our program, that are in charge of reviewing our program, that if we issue any variances, that they will be here with FEMA to do a real thorough investigation and will put our program in jeopardy. That's straight from the folks who are hired to grade us. So my recommendation is to not grant a variance. As far as responsibility for the repairs, that's a board decision. But my recommendation is to not grant a variance.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other recommendations from any other staff?
All right, now, did we hear from everybody?
Let's
Did we hear
close
from
it.
everybody?
Yes.
All right, give me a motion to close the hearing.
So move.
Second.
Properly motion and second that we close the hearing. Are you ready for the question? Please signify by voting. You closing the hearing. All right? Hearing is closed. Now, is there, is there a
Yeah,
motion?
please.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just after the discussion there, I believe we all heard phrases like, let me explain the previous process, the new procedure. That indicates that something in the past wasn't necessarily as good as it is at the moment. Not that staff did anything wrong, but just the phrasing itself shows that because of this unfortunate experience, we've had to improve policies to move forward. That's no fault of the homeowner, home builder, and it's no fault of, I would hope, of anyone on our staff because of the constant changing policies. What Ms. Cooler said a minute ago is the main reason why I didn't want to just grant the variance, because I see us having two major duties. We need to do the right thing for this homeowner, but we also need to do the right thing for the entire community. And if granting a variance would jeopardize the future flood programs for the whole county, then we can't do that. But the good thing is we've got a gentleman here, the owner, that's willing to work with us, even release, all he wants to do is move forward, even release us from any future hold harmless agreement or whatever, if we just simply give him $35,000, which, guys, that's a lot cheaper than if we went to court on this one. And I think he's kind of a saint sitting over there. He's gone through pure hell at this point, at no fault of his own. So at this point, in the best interest of the county as a whole, and to do the right thing for these property owners here, I would like to make a motion to approve an agreement between Chatham County and the applicant, Robert Jonas. Whereas the applicant agrees to tear down and rebuild the home located at 135 Runner Road to meet county standards and to enter a hold harmless agreement with the county in exchange for the county paying the applicant $35,000, which will go towards the demolition and rebuilding of the home.
I'll second that motion.
Ma'am,
It's been properly motioned and second. It's been properly motioned and second. The motion that's on the floor. Now, are you ready for the question? Now comes the question.
okay. I'm in favor of reimbursing for the error, but I would feel more comfortable if we reimburse according to the receipts that are turned in for the actual cost. That's.
With a not to exceed, maybe.
Yeah, or even, I don't know I know that construction costs have gone up. All I want is documentation that he didn't just pull a number out of the air and submit it.
Saw the construction.
Yeah, and I totally understand. But there again, there's 9 foot up high center block wall. We've been stopped for 5 months. And even with the money, you're talking about an additional, we had a completion date of June 30th. Fortunately, I pulled out equity out of the home that I live in, and I don't have a construction loan. But that home is gonna lose money now because we're probably gonna be December, January, which that home was gonna be a rental property for $2,500 a month. So.
Then that could be factored in. I mean, I'm just looking for,
I'd rather just,
I'm just,
5,000, I think.
well, I think this is taxpayers' money, so I would like some documentation, and if the interest on whatever, include that in there. That's just how I feel.
Well, Mr. Chairman,
All right, hold on a minute. You finished?
Yes, sir.
All right, now Commissioner White.
well, Mr. Chairman, considering what Commissioner Stone said, I'd like to perhaps offer an amendment, a friendly amendment to the initial motion, that we we say no, not to exceed $35,000, conditional upon receipts being provided of the work being done. So again, the initial motion that Commissioner Kicklighter stated, we follow that, but add a caveat that the agreement on the county's behalf be to reimburse Mr. Jonas no more than $35,000, conditional upon receipts of the work being done.
All right, you have to offer that as an amendment.
Question to that.
Okay. Question to what he's proposing, his amendment.
I have no problem with that because the house is going to cost a whole lot more than $35,000 to build. if we go that route, what's the stopping point that he has to, the receipt stop? When does the receipt stop?
35
Because
grand.
there's gonna have to be, the whole bottom will have to be restructured differently than it currently is. So he would most likely have to, it would take, I don't know, is there less bricks with the new way that'll happen, or more bricks, or?
There's no bricks, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be concrete piers, and then obviously we have to design, timbered breakaway walls, in between the piers and.
Less bricks.
So
Currently, it's full
Right.
bricks, but now it's just gonna be brick posts, so to speak.
Okay. I personally have no problem putting that, but I feel as if it's just us nitpicking the poor guy to death.
No, I think it's
At this
good
point.
business. I mean, I think it's proper business
Well,
that
we
we
are-
owe to.
Helen, you know,
Oh, okay, have
the
everybody,
commissioner,
man. Dean's got the floor.
you know, this is a hard-working young man who's putting probably his life's work into his house. You can look at what's been done at this point and see that by the time they remove all those blocks and redo it all again, that's easily $35,000. And that's without suing the county for the pain and all the delays and him losing equity in his house. You're saving the county money by doing the way I've recommended, number one. But number two is you're doing the right thing by giving the guy $35,000 to start over. It wasn't his fault. Why torture this guy anymore? I mean, it's no point when he could go. I've never said this because it's not very responsible. You could sue the hell out of the county and you would win, in my opinion. And I appreciate you, for one, not being greedy, sitting there very nice and patient and just spending all your equity in your current home. And all you want to do is basically start over again and extend it for several more months now. I appreciate you. And if this fails today, I don't want to even change my motion because we don't need to mess with this guy anymore. Is that a condition that has to be for your support?
Well, what I'm saying is, you know, understanding what Commissioner Stone is saying, we do still have a responsibility to the taxpayers' dollars, so we need to account for that.
Oh, I am, 'cause we know
So if
we'd
we're
stay out of court.
we're already about to, you know, try to make the gentleman whole, but at a minimum, let's make sure we got some receipts, because otherwise, what stops the next person from coming up and having
Receipts
something to
okay.
say? And then it's just a general contingency, you know? I'm not trying to give you a hard time here, I'm trying to make sure that this goes across the finish line.
Just basically, as we're going, say, $10,000 receipt, and the county would send 10,000, and then the next receipt? Or how would that, or do you write a check for 35,000 and I gotta, you know what I mean? I just don't know
Send
the.
the bill, like he's billing you. You
Okay.
send this.
Okay.
There we go, so we have that, what she said. And
Okay.
again, not trying to give you a hard time here, but at the end of the day, these are your dollars too.
Yeah.
Right, I understand that.
No.
Okay, then I will amend my motion to cap any expenditures at $35,000 to be, that amount shall be funded from the county towards the builder applicant. And I would like for Ms. Kramer to explain the reimbursement process as a part of this motion, how that would take place.
He would send the invoice to us, he could email it, and we would.
No, no.
Hand deliver. He can drive to the county, give us the invoice in the county manager's office.
To
and
the
we
second
would-
floor of this building.
Okay.
And we would work with repayment.
All right, well, I amend my motion as stated.
Thank you, and I second it.
And with that invoice, are you going to want receipts?
Yes.
Gotta be receipts.
Yeah, just like any other builder. When they-
All right, let's vote on the amendment, right? All right?
What do you,
Well, no, that was the whole.
On the second, the person who made the second just needs to agree to amend it.
I did.
And he already, yeah, his idea, so he agreed.
So you voting on the whole motion? All right, so now, are we ready for now is voting?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, cast your votes. All right. let's
Thank
move on.
y'all, and sorry for all the
Let's
trouble.
move on.
It wasn't ever intended, so sorry y'all went through it.
Let's move on. All right, items for individual action. Request approval of the following budget amendments and transfers. In the sales and tax fund, transfer of funds between projects as listed in attachment 1.
I take it by the action the commission did today with the gentleman that was just here, as it is denied the variance under our floodplain ordinance.
Is that something we don't need to vote on, or we need to vote on it?
We just need,
You need to establish that by paying him, what you've done is you've denied the variance.
Right.
That's what we understand we did.
So
Do we
should
need
I
to
make a motion?
Is that a motion?
So that being said, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to deny the request for variance on the table considered items.
Second.
Properly motion and second that the variance be denied. Are you ready for the question? Please vote. All right, no problem. All right, get communication straight. Individual actions. Request approval of the following budget amendments and transfer. In the sales and transfer funds between projects as listed in attachment 1. 2, in the multi-grant fund, increased revenue and expenditures, $200,000 for the Safe Streets for All grant. B, $13,558 for the CJCC Accountable Court Emergency Grant. C, $5,083 for the CJCC Juvenile Family Treatment Court Technology Grant. D, $4,856 for the CJCC Juvenile Mental Health Court Technology Grant. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Properly motion and second that the request be granted. Are you ready for the question? Please cast your votes. Okay. Board consider a variance to the county noise ordinance in Chatham County on Saturday, April the 29th, 2023. Petitioner Jamie K. Smith hosting a roller skate and DJ event between the hours of 2 p.m. until 5 p.m. held at Lake Mare Community Park located at 1850 East Montgomery Crossroads, Savannah, Georgia, 31406, District 3. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make that motion, but I believe that's District 1.
District 1, okay.
I'll second the motion.
Properly motion is second. Are you ready for the question? Please cast your vote. Okay. Director Surhead. Good afternoon.
I will be extremely brief. So I'll just do a quick update on the fentanyl situation. So in 2023, so far, we've had 34 call-outs. So my agents have gone to the scene or talking to the detectives on the scene for 34 cases. Of that which, if you go down to the bottom, next is we've had 27 overdose deaths as of today. And so that is drastically up from last year. So last year we had about 56 for the whole year, and in the first quarter we were, as of the 31st, I think we were at 24. So, but there's been some ebbs and flows. The first part of the year was not good, and then we didn't see too many of them. So there's going to be ebbs and flows. We've been out training as many officers on the use of the naloxone. So year to date, about 130 You know, it's tough to get like a SPD. You know, we're doing like once every 2 weeks. We'll so we don't have to pull too many people off the street and everything. And then I've been out with the public awareness package. I already had about 220 people, and that was before I did yesterday morning with St. Andrews. They contacted me, and I had the whole student body, high school student body, and that went really well. So I got some feedback on that. Just this morning, the headmaster, dean, or whatever at St. Andrews emailed me back and said that the kids, it was very productive, and that he was getting a lot of feedback from the other teachers that the kids were even talking about it further and later on in the day. I presented first thing in the morning, so I was pretty excited about that. Bids are going out tomorrow for the trailer, so that'll probably, I think that closes May 2nd, and then I think build-out time, you know, could be as much as 8 to 12 weeks. I'm trying to have that in place and ready to go at the start of the school year next year. So the coalition, on the coalition front, I met with the Savannah Chatham schools yesterday, and we're already preparing and getting down to brass tacks of putting a program into the high schools that we're going to basically have 4 events each year for every grade level, so we can keep hitting them. So I'm in the process of trying to, you know, develop those. We got to come up with 12 programs that we could present to the kids. We're going to use their peer advisors. We're going to see what teachers really would like to be a part of that, and then open it up to the students and to be a part of actually building that. I don't want to say curriculum because it's not going to be a curriculum type thing, but so that's moving forward pretty good. Met last week with the Peer Mediation Center. There's a grant out there for opioid affected youth, and there were a lot of people at that table, so that's moving pretty good. I don't think I'll have much of the nuts and bolts of once the grant comes in, but they wanted me at the table to kind of just have a knowledge of some of the areas that I thought we could improve on and where we could utilize that grant best. So we're looking at you know, just some of the things that we're looking at using that if we get the grant would be, you know, on the mental health side for the students and the teenagers. And doing some training for some people. So that was going pretty good. And it's just going to take a little time before that gets off the ground. But, you know, all in all, that's going pretty good. And then on the enforcement side, we're staying extremely active. We developed some information not too long ago about a place out on the islands, and we were able to execute that, and that's those photographs right there. So that was a very well received case. The neighbors were ecstatic when we did that. And this investigation was, I would consider, one of our hot areas that we've focused in on, and we've had some complaints, and so that's moving forward very good in that area. So I think it's going to lead to better and bigger things coming out of that specific area. So that's going good. Here's another case. You know, once again, we're looking at multiple different types of drugs and fentanyl being present. So you know, that nothing's changed along those lines. So that was about 70 grams of fentanyl that we seized in another investigation. And then this last one here, it's about 100 pounds of marijuana. We've been working very closely with the authorities out at the airport and working the airport, because we know that a lot of narcotics and, you know, monies are going in and flowing in and out of there. And so the agents were able to develop some information and were able to knock off this as it was inbound in a couple of suitcases. So, you know, building that relationship with these outside departments, when you need to build those on the front end so that when you get that information, it's smooth and it runs good. So we're working extremely well with the airport. And that's it.
Questions for the Director, sir? Hearing none, thank you, sir.
I just have, those were a bunch of single action rifles.
Some of those were,
That's the new gangster, huh? All right, all right.
well, you had one on there that looked a little high
Oh,
tech.
yeah, I see that one.
They shoot.
It looked like a
That's all
Western.
that counts. They
So
shoot.
and that, there's a lot more going on in that investigation.
Right.
But I can tell you the neighbors were ecstatic when we took care of that.
I would be too. Get that many guns out of my neighborhood, I'd be
Yeah.
glad. I'd be patting you on the back and taking you to lunch.
Well, the
And a whole
teams,
lot of
they
them.
really developed that from the ground up. So it's, they did a real nice job on that.
Thank you. Thank you and congratulations. All right, anything else? Thank you, sir. Let's move on. Action calendar, no one expressed anything to do anything individually, so may I have a motion to accept the action calendar in its entirety?
So moved.
Is there a second? Properly motion is second that the action calendar be accepted in its entirety. Are you ready for the question? Please signify by voting. Okay, going to first readers. First readers in this case, and the first one, approve revisions to the Chatham County Historic Preservation Ordinance to update Section 3-503 and Section 3-504 throughout document CCHPC file number Z-0722-000-299. All right, this is the first reading. Upon vote of the Commission's approval, the ordinance will go back to the new Historic Preservation Board for further review and comments. All right, we're just reading that into the
Mr.
record.
Chairman,
What about,
I just would like a copy
Yeah,
of
we
the,
got that.
of
The old one and the new one.
Yeah, well, but what's being proposed redlined compared to what is currently existing.
Okay,
This being the first reading is.
first reading,
Right.
not public hearing.
which ones include the public hearing now? On the
Zoning.
first reading?
The second one is a zoning. Any zoning, you gotta have public comments on both 1 and 2. Non-zoning, you can just have the first reading and then have the public comments on the second.
Yeah, I wonder if there's anybody here that,
Well, they'd have to come back at the next meeting. All right, let's go on to number 2, the petitioner, Harold Yellen, for High Point LLC is proposing a rezoning a 45-acre tract of land located on the Geechee Road from PBC, Planned Community Business, to R3, Multifamily Residential, and B-C, Community Business. MPC file number Z-0223-0000360-map pin 11029-04022C. The MPC recommends approval. All right, and the first thing is that, may I have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
Properly motion and second that we go into public hearing. Are you ready for the question? Please signify your votes. Okay, we are in public. Have anyone sign up to speak on this behalf?
No, sir, I don't see anyone in the audience that's, want to
Okay.
speak on this one.
All right, may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Properly motion and second that the public hearing be closed. Are you ready for the question? Please signify by your votes. Okay. And we'll have public hearing. And there are no second readers. We come to information, Mr. Manager.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. You should have in front of you some updates from the Parks and Recreation Department, a copy of our Team Chatham Safety Newsletter, and some information from the Health Department on the teen vaccination clinics. Also, you should have some key dates that I want you to please put on your calendar. This refers to our budget adoption and the dates, proposed public hearings and the board workshop, and then we're scheduled for adoption of the budget and millage on the 23rd of June.
All right. Anything else?
No, sir.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? Properly motion to second that we adjourn. Please cast. 5, 5, 3, 5 and 3. Got 5? No. We adjourn.